Jesus. This dumbass. What the fuck? Well, hello. Welcome back to my channel. Just Shauna here to talk about some friggin' books that I've read recently. There's really like 1, 2, 3 full-length like novels, 1 novella and a graphic novel, volume, and then 1 DNF. I'm still feeling pretty well on a roll with my reading thus far this year, as far as actively reading more, prioritizing, picking up a book rather than scrolling on my phone or whatever the hell. So loving that, yay. The first 2 I did not read back to back, but I'm going to talk about them back to back because they are part of a series that I did end up starting and finishing this month. And the 3 books in the series are all pretty short. And that is the complete Arrows Trilogy by Mercedes Lackey. I talked about Arrows of the Queen in my last recent reads video. And then I did finish Arrows Flight and Arrows Fall. So, okay. I really liked the first book, as you will have seen if you watch me talk about it. I gave it 4.5 stars. And I did say that the kind of one noticeable drawback for me from that first book was that I was feeling a bit distanced with like the writing style. There were emotional things that happened that did kind of make me go, oh, that's emotional, or oh, that's sad or cute or whatever. But I didn't actually really feel anything, and I am the type of reader who will frequently get choked up or very emotional about stuff, But it was just something about the writing, I felt like, and I couldn't quite pinpoint it, that just gave me a bit of distance, where I was like, oh, that is sad, but I don't really feel sad about it. And I was kind of hoping that that would cease and desist as I got familiar with the writing style, but it did not. So Arrows Flight, the middle book, my biggest qualm with that one is the first book is very much coming of age, personal growth with the main character as she is learning to trust and to love again and all of these things. And there's a fair amount of like lack of communication in that first book, but it made complete sense to me in that book. Because again, she was learning to trust, so it made complete sense that she wasn't opening up about what she was feeling or thinking or going through with other people. But then like that kind of came full circle in the first book, where she realized and had all these revelations of, hey, it's okay to trust these people. They really do love me and care for me. And then in the second book, it just was kind of more of that. It was more of Talia's personal growth. And I guess I just was kind of like, all right, I don't want a whole other book of more like just focusing on her personal growth. Like plot-wise, some stuff was kind of happening, but not really. And I don't know. I didn't find the story all that compelling in the second one. And then the lack of communication, Jesus, between Talia and this character Chris was stressing me out. And I just, to a certain degree, I found it kind of believable and like for the characters. But then at a certain point, I was just like, I don't know though, man. It kind of feels super contrived and super forced and not authentically how these characters would act from what I understand of them. So there was that. And I just didn't have such a great time with it. I was mostly just bored and then getting very frustrated with fucking talk to each other. Oh my God. And Chris was getting pretty obnoxious. So I gave Arrows Flight 3 stars. Quite a dip down from the first book. Kind of a disappointment. It is what it is. Then Arrows Fall, the third book, the final book in the trilogy. More lack of communication, and it felt so contrived to me. And it was multiple characters all not talking. And Chris, once again, was the worst of it. This dumbass. He would be like, oh, I should clear this up. And he would go tell, like, a truth. And he wouldn't, like, be trying to withhold any information, but he would. Like, it wasn't like he was lying or like, oh, I'll tell them a partial truth. He would say, like, here's the facts, but then give no context for like what he just told someone about a situation, leaving it completely up to their interpretation of like, well, this situation that happened or this incident that happened, how did it happen? Why did it happen? How do you feel about how it happened? How did the other person feel about this situation? He explains none of that and just leaves it up to and then he's like, oh, there, I did my good deed. Yep, now it's all cleared up. Meanwhile, this other person is like, well, wait, what does that mean? And it must mean that. That must be why he told me. And it's like, they're horribly wrong. Horribly wrong. But then it also was annoying to me, like, he was kind of causing it, but then these other characters wouldn't ask for clarification. And I say this all the time, like, it's just one of those things that for me personally, it does not compute. It does not compute in my brain. If someone tells me something and I have any questions about it, I'm asking the questions as soon as humanly possible. So my brain does not compute this behavior. And it was like multiple characters doing this. And it was so infuriating to me. Oh my Jesus. Oh my Jesus. And then also though, the writing style, like that whole like distance, like me feeling distance from it continued and kind of just got worse where I just didn't feel anything. I liked the characters, like some of them, not all of them, but like I liked Talia, the main character, and like several other characters, and their friendships were sweet or cute or whatever, but I just didn't feel that much about it. Something about, I don't know if it's just Mercedes Lackey, her writing style in general, or this is her debut trilogy, so I don't know if it was maybe just debut author stuff, and I think they were written like probably all at the same time. The first two were published in the same year, and the next one was published a year after. So I don't know if it was just like debut author stuff. I might try another series or at least another book of hers, like a later one, to just check it out and see. I don't know if any of you are big Mercedes Lackey fans, if you've read this series and you, excuse me, wow. If you've read this series and you kind of know what I'm talking about, let me know if that is just kind of her writing style. The writing style feels very detached to me from like what's happening on the page. And especially the third book, some really dark stuff happens later. I mean, content warnings in the middle book too. In the middle book, there is mention of rape and like child abuse, like a stepfather raping daughters many times. You don't see it happening on the page or anything like that. You just hear that it has happened, but warning for that. And then in the third book, it is technically on page rape, but it's just very like, this is happening. And there's no description of it or anything. And it is very detached, which can be good for a scene like that, of course. But then like the aftermath of these things also, like I just didn't feel the emotional impact, I guess. And I don't know if it's just Mercedes Lackey, her writing style just not vibing with me or what, but I ended up not really loving it. I gave Arrows Fall 2.75 stars. So going from 4.5 to 2.75, not great. 2.75 is like still middle of the road for me, but it's just like slightly less than like completely middle of the road neutral. Like I was pretty fucking annoyed throughout a lot of this book. So kind of a bummer. And then the book that I DNF'd, I almost just wasn't even gonna include it because I barely started it. And I think though it's just a matter of not being in the mood at the moment for classics. Monet was saying she wanted to read more classics, and then I saw Robin be like, sign me up. And I was like, oh yeah, me too. But then we started Sense and Sensibility, and I'm pretty sure we all DNF'd it. I'm fairly certain. I know Monet was like, nope, I'm out. And then I had been listening to it on audio, but like barely. I mean, I got 5% of the way in, and I just was not paying, like I could not stay focused on it. And I just think I'm not in the mood for classics at the moment. So this is one where I might try it later on at a different point. I just know, because then I was thinking they're going to read Wuthering Heights, which I love. But again, I was just like, I don't really want to though, actually, now that I think about it. So I think it's just not the time for classics for me. So I did technically DNF that. And then the novella was another Jackie Lau from the Holidays with the Wongs series. I read Fake Girlfriend for Chinese New Year, and it was fine. It was cute. Kind of the same thing as the other ones. They're so quick. Such quick books. I really like this family though. They're dynamic, the grandma and grandpa and like the parents and just all the siblings getting involved with each other. And this one is like unrequited crush. Like they weren't enemies or anything. They were just like acquaintance, very like barely know of each other acquaintances. They live in like a smaller town, so like knew of each other, but they weren't friends or anything. But then both had relationships end, like engagements end, or a proposal that didn't happen. God, now I forget. It was like last week that I finished it. Where they were both in the bar, the local bar, and just started kind of commiserating about their experiences and whatever. Things go from there. So the guy is like, hey, I need a fake girlfriend so that my family doesn't try to like set me up again like they keep doing. And she's like, yeah, I'll do it. But she secretly has a huge crush on him. But he has sworn off ever getting in a serious relationship ever again, or ever marrying ever again, for sure. So things ensue, and the spicy scenes were spicy enough. Nothing like crazy, but they were good, I feel. So I enjoyed it. I don't have that much to say about it, though. Obviously, it's just like quick and easy read. I ended up giving it 3.5 stars. A solid little contemporary romance novella. Next, I read and just finished yesterday my third time reading, second reread of Game of Thrones, the first book in the Song of Ice and Fire series by George R.R. Martin. So I read this first in I don't have it in here. Like 2017, I think I read on audio, stupidly. This one, Clash of Kings, and then I think I finished Storm of Swords. I at least started it, but I'm fairly certain I finished Storm of Swords as well. So I listened to those on audio, and I've said this so many times. This was before I realized that that was a stupid-ass idea for me, because an epic, especially all the political shit and so many different characters, audiobook for the first time reading a book series, bad idea for me. Because I finished Storm of Swords and was like, but like, what the fuck happened? And I mean, I was already familiar with the show when I read those initially, but there are certain things that are different and whatnot. But like, I just was like, what the hell was different? I can't remember. I don't think I retained any of that. So I decided to hold off, wait until I had a little bit more time away from the series, away from the TV series, to try to start from the beginning and read the physical books, all right? So then I think it was last year, someone was doing a read-along, and I was like, yeah, I will. And I read the first one again and stopped. And I was like, once again, I'm just not in the mood for this right now. So I put it down. But I was in the mood, picked this one up, and yeah, very much was in the mood this time. I was thoroughly engaged, just having a fucking blast. Having a blast rereading this and being in this world, like close in this world again, because I'm kind of always watching reaction videos to Game of Thrones, so I'm always seeing at least the highlights of the show. And I did recently rewatch the entire TV show with my boyfriend as well. So anyways, all that to say, I was very surprised with how engaged I was reading this time around. Yeah, very excited to continue. Also, like I'm holding off starting Clash of Kings just because I'm in the middle of 2 other books right now, e-arcs that I have, and I want to get those finished. But I'm like itching to start Clash of Kings. And it's kind of a weird reading experience because I am so familiar with the characters and the show, and especially in the first couple books. Like there's just whole scenes pulled from the book that are in the show that I'm very familiar with. So much dialogue, like just so much of it is the exact same, right? So it's hard to say like how I would feel if I never had watched Game of Thrones and I just read this book for the first time. Like, I don't know. So rating wise, it's kind of hard because I'm like, I mean, is it like 5 stars? Maybe not. But then I'm like, but also probably because some of the stuff that would impact me a lot more, like I knew was coming and it didn't impact me. Like I can only imagine reading this for the first time and some of the shit that goes down being like, what the fuck? But like I know everything that's gonna happen, so it doesn't hit me the same, you know? So I ended up giving it 4.5 stars, which is a solid rating, obviously, especially for me. And then I randomly, yesterday, after finishing Game of Thrones, I was like, I want a little quick, you know, not palate cleanser, because not to get that taste out of my mouth or anything, but just to like mentally prepare for the other fantasy books that I am in the middle of now, or that I started now. So I picked up Lore Olympus Volume 3 by Rachel Smythe, and I really, really liked this one. I liked the first two, but I just wasn't, I was like, yeah, they're cute and they're fun, and I love the artwork and everything, and I'm going to continue reading them, but I'm not particularly invested or really like, oh, these characters are so great. But this one, oh, loved it. Oh my God, so much fun, but also like so sweet. There were a couple moments, and you know, without spoiling stuff, particularly with Eros or Arrows, however you would say, I don't know how you'd say it, but I always in my head say Arrows. Eros and Persephone, so precious and like really, really important, like messaging. Because in this series there is sexual assault, there's the R word, and in the first volume it's like on page. I mean, this doesn't go like all graphic and like whatever, but it is like, you know, it's cartoon and you do kind of see what's happening. And then the character is just dealing with it to like in the best way that she can, but it's clearly affecting her. And yeah, her finally getting the chance to like talk to someone about it and how it was handled. So great, I thought, anyways, in my opinion. Just really, really sweet and caring and understanding and just gentle. I really liked seeing that, I guess. And Artemis in this one fucking cracked me up several times. So yeah, Persephone is just so sweet and so precious, and I'm just really enjoying the story. I guess like getting the momentum with it, and this one just really stuck out to me. Really, really enjoyed it. I ended up giving this 4.5 stars. I could probably rate it higher, but I don't know. I'm stingy. You know this. There we have it. Those are the things that I have completed recently. Like I said, I'm still kind of on a roll. I'm really enjoying it. I have read 9 books so far in January. It is the 26th. I imagine I will probably finish at least the one e-arc I have. That'll probably finish in the next couple days. And that's pretty solid for me. Yay. Love that. There we have it. Let me know if you have read any of these, and if so, what were your thoughts, without spoiling stuff for anyone else that might be reading the comments, obviously. Like, comment, and subscribe if you feel so inclined and you have not already. Leave a comment or just a little emoji if you want to say hi, make your presence known. As always, thank you so much for your time. Hope you all have a wonderful day, and I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.